How's it going, everybody? It is the Kagilo Fox. Here's my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And tonight, I am doing another live stream. Yep, that's right. Keeping up this sort of marathon weekend stream kind of thing going on. I'll probably do one tomorrow just because I don't really have anything planned or what I want to specifically talk about. But it's a Friday and it's a chill stream and all that stuff. So yeah, let's get right into it. Um, so I have some things that I'm going to talk about. It's already 10:38, so I'll probably be here for a bit. I'll probably pass that whole midnight threshold, of course. So that's destined to happen. But basically, I'm going to talk about, I guess, what I'm going to cover. So pretty much, I'll just tell you about my day and stuff. Yesterday, kind of a little pissy about something. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" But I guess I'll release the full details in a couple of weeks after I get that out the way. Hey, what's happening, Taylor? And before you ask, no, I have not seen Transformers Prime. I was looking into it. I'll probably watch it tomorrow, possibly, because I've just been busy for this week and whatnot. So, you know, I didn't want to like really watch Transformers Prime and stuff. But I mean, but that didn't stop me from watching other stuff. I was watching like Sailor Moon, and I was watching this old '90s anime called Magic Knight, Ray Earth, and stuff about these three girls. So yeah. But anyways, hang on. Excuse me. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna probably do a little bit of a reaction to Sonic Shorts. As you read the title of the stream, Batman is overrated. So I'm gonna tell you, or this will be my sort of rant about all that Batman stuff that they can just keep like peddling out. That's just annoying and stuff like that. And yeah, so anyways, excuse me. So so the other day I had a little thing that I had to go to for this specific job or whatever, but I had to go through like this whole physical and whatnot to like before I can kind of get the job and all on like and all that stuff, which I have to like it's mandatory. And for whatever reason, they sent me home because they're like the lady next to me just took a whiff at me and she was like she just thought I stink or something. I was like what? Or some of my body odor. She thought I didn't take a shower. And I'm like what? Of course I always take a shower. Take a shower almost every day and and all this other stuff. So I talked to the guy. He was like, "Well, you might as well like go home." I'm like, "Well, you don't think I can't like, well, can I just go to my car and just like get some Axe body spray or something? I probably have that in my bag," which I did. He was like, "Well, if you leave the building, it's a security clearance, blah blah blah, and I can't come back in." And I'm like, "You can't be serious. What's happening to SSJ? How you doing tonight?" Well, I already know because we were talking. So, anyways, yes, I was like, well, can I just ask around if I have like if anyone else got like body spray? Well, it's not like people be carrying body spray on you, but yeah, sure. So I asked around. Nobody had body spray, of course. And I was like, ugh. So I had to leave the building and stuff. So I had to redo the well, not redo, but I have to pick up where I left off with this physical examination thing for this potential job that I want to get later. So yeah, so I was like, I was mad about that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Then my my manager at my job had texted me and wanted somebody to come in, or she wanted me to come in. And I was like, you know what? I might as well just to get this off my mind and stuff. And then yesterday was like, I was working with my coworker and stuff, but she wasn't really doing a whole lot of work because she was sick, and she was like, I was throwing up and stuff and all that. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just great. So we kind of half-assed clothes and stuff like that at my job, and I had to kind of hold down the fort a little bit. So yeah, it was a lot. But anyways, but yeah, man, the anniversary was just pathetic. Yeah, I know. Only Chaos Emerald Hunt announcement was somewhat interesting. Yeah, I didn't really see it, but I know what you mean though, Ashes, with the 35th anniversary for Sonic. Yeah, like you would kind of think that they could at least announce something a little bit more bigger, like a new game on the horizon, or do a little bit of something. But I don't know. Sometimes with Sonic, it just seems like a lot of their stuff is like either not on time or it's just out of whack. Because the 35th anniversary comic, I think that's coming out in what 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I'm here for the Batman. Yeah, it's gonna be a minute probably before I probably get into that. I'll probably do a little reaction talking about Sonic Shorts after my little story time. So, anyways, but yeah, with the 35th anniversary and stuff, yeah, I didn't really hear much besides, I did see that Mega Man thing though, where Mega Man was saying "Happy Birthday" to Sonic or whatever. That dude in the Mega Man costume was like, "You rock, man, and you roll," and all that. I'm like, that's kind of nice. I like that. But yeah, so yeah, that 35th anniversary, man. But at least I put out my contribution with the Sonic Underground thing and Sonic and his family and stuff. Which technically speaking, will also be the twins' birthday too, because they share the same birthday with Sonic. So you would think. So, anyways, what else? Today was a lot more better compared to yesterday and whatnot. My brother actually came by, and so I haven't seen my brother in person for like probably like 2 years. Probably, I don't really see him a whole lot, but we talk on the phone and we just yeah. But he came by because he was picking up his son because my nephew who he was staying in North Carolina with his mom for a bit because they were like you know, there for a cousin's graduation and stuff like that. So after all that, they kind of stuck around for a bit, and then my brother came up to pick him up, and he figured, hey, you know what, might as well drop by and see how I'm doing. So he came by, we chopped it up a bit, we talked. I definitely talked. I talked his ear off. I know he's probably annoyed about that, most definitely. But yeah, kids, my nephew and my other sort of nephew and stuff, they're just playing on their tablets and stuff, chilling. We talked a little bit. I showed them like my artwork, some of my animations and stuff like that, etc. So yeah, we just kept it on rolling. Then he headed back to his hotel so they can chill out and stuff. And then they'll drive back tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. Then after that, I had talked to our dad. So that was very nice. You going to talk about on the stream? Talk about which one? I feel like you're talking about Transformers Prime, but I could be mistaken. To be fair, at least Frontier's Definitive Edition isn't Sonic Colors Ultimate, but like, what's the point if Sega won't actually announce anything else? Yeah, I kind of missed the Frontier's Definitive Edition. I don't really have an interest in getting it because I already played the DLC thing with that. And that was good God, that Frontiers, that DLC with Frontiers was hard as hell. You know, like yeah, but yeah, and it's been a while since I played Frontiers because like I don't know, like it just doesn't really have that replayability. Like it's a good game. Like in my personal opinion, I thought it was all right, but it just doesn't have that kind of replayability kind of feel to it because it's so much. So it's like well, I don't really feel like returning to it right now. So right. And I got a lot of other games too that I gotta just juggle outside of Sonic and stuff. Like I told you guys before, I was working on Xenosaga. Xenosaga was like Xenosaga. It's a long game, but it's a JRPG and stuff like that. I talked about it a couple months ago, and I'm still on that. I'm close. I actually am about to fight the final boss, but I'm not even confident if I can beat him right now because I got to level up, or I want to level up a lot more. But yeah, so it's a lot. To be fair, at least oh yeah, I already read that. Sorry, this just popped up on my homepage. All right, Sonic shorts, 3D. But it was pretty nice that the Sonic Shorts guys, or well, not the guys.
Why spread your money across multiple
just to shake things up a bit, let's do a 3D Sonic thing and stuff like that for their little short. So that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna play it. I haven't actually watched it, so I mean I've seen some of it like towards the end because I jumped in at the premiere as at the last couple of minutes of the or like last 6 minutes or so. So this would be like kind of like oh. I think fair, at least Sega didn't
Shine City, baby. Tails,
another classic Sonic game collection since nothing will top Sonic Gems collection. I do want to kind of get Sonic Gems, but I kind of don't really see the point. Well, at least for me, at the moment, because like to be honest with you, the only reason I would probably get Sonic Gems will probably be to get Sonic CD. But I already have Sonic CD thanks to Sonic Origins and stuff. Which Sonic Origins was actually the first game where I was able to play Sonic CD because even in Sonic Mega Collection, they never had Sonic CD. They had the opening and the outro, like the intro and the outro, as the cutscenes, which that's pretty cool. But they never actually had the actual game itself in the a part of the thing. So I was like, damn, that sucks. By old school, you're gonna talk about your old school stream. I don't know about that, but anyways,
Finally made it to the big leagues. We're gonna be the first all 3D animated episode on this legendary channel.
yeah, I remember back in the day I used to watch Sonic shorts and stuff. Probably not exactly when it was coming out, but back when I was in I would say like fifth grade was probably the first time I started watching Sonic shorts and stuff. Like, I know it used to be on like Newgrounds and stuff like that. I meant my old school is Sonic Paradox. Oh yeah. I was about to get into that. Yeah, because I remember Sonic shorts and stuff. Yeah, this stuff used to come on and stuff. Like I used to watch it back when I was in like fifth grade and stuff like that. Which I think it might have came out a little bit before 2010 because that was when I was in fifth grade. But yeah, I enjoyed it though. That stuff was so funny, and I probably had to
It's all gonna be safe, and we're all gonna have a great time. What in the Jesus Christ was that?
Search. It's a good mouse to search. Oh. I think that's Rouge. That might have to be Sonic. I don't know who that is. That might be Amy right here. Search, what have you done? Oh, snap, no. I blame Ian Flynn. Damn, isn't that the go-to?
Shadow. Black Arms weaponry is organic in origin. This means they grow their firearms. Shadow, you are part Black Arms. Therefore, I surmise you should be able to turn your hand into a gun.
What?
You heard me.
Omega, I think some of your wires have gotten crossed.
My wiring has no errors, and my logic is sound.
And of course, if you want to like find the animators and stuff, they always have their thing in the corner right here, the right hand corner.
Right, I forgot about that.
So you can search
Let me
them
just
up.
turn on my black
This is
arms
like to your
power,
liking.
wave my hand, and it will just turn into a gun. Oh wait,
See?
I could have done this the whole time.
I told you.
Right, my destiny has become clear.
Ah, Shadow, I've been waiting for you. It is now finally time for you to join me and for us to become one. Wait, is that a gun?
Finally, it's over. Hey Shadow, long time no—
Sorry, I'm thinking about that one Sonic short where Shadow was mad at Sonic and he was like, "You ate all the eggs," and then Sonic was like, "Well, what if I did eat all the eggs? What are you gonna do? Break my arms or something?" And then Shadow broke Sonic's arms and was like, "You really shouldn't give him ideas. You shouldn't give him any ideas." Then Knuckles punched Sonic's broken arm. He's like, "Ooh, ooh."
No seat.
Oh damn.
Finally, some peace and quiet around here.
All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. Paradox. Honestly, Sonic Origins is fine now, but I still rather play fan remasters. At least hear OG soundtrack and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yeah, watched it in 2012, 2013. Yeah, that's not too far off from when I first started watching it. Because I think, yeah, like I said, I started watching it at least around 2010. Because that was like, yeah, that was my fifth grade year. Or maybe 2000, yeah, or earliest at best 2009. How is he still alive while everyone else is electrocuted in the pool? Oh, you're talking about Surge. I don't know. I mean, she controlled lightning. Gun Control 1 in Sonic Universe, best ending in '06 than the original ending. All the praise to Sonic Chronicles for evolving Omega to being as iconic as he is now. Through Archie Evolve, this take is even more. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really I can't flat character or anything. But what I will say about the Sonic Chronicles is that they really highlighted that Shadow and Omega genuinely do have like a pretty good friendship and stuff, and that Shadow does care a great deal about Omega. So I will say that.
Did you know that during a mating ritual, male hedgehogs can circle the female for hours?
Several hours later. One eternity later.
New explanation, the top of realization.
Wow, Sonic. You sure have spent a long time fishing here.
Sonic-
What'd you expect? You only host the most addictive type of minigame in the known universe.
Maybe Sega should have made this the main game instead. Maybe with motion controls.
Sega? Make a game all about fishing? Sounds a bit far-fetched. Now then, let's see what
As you know, Big the Cat was supposed to be made. He was made specifically to promote that fishing Sega game, because Sega was known for a lot of for being very sportsy back in the day. They had a lot of sports related games during their time. So I think maybe it might have been a promotion to, I think, bass fishing, if I'm not mistaken. I remember back in I never played it, but well, I might have sort of played it, but I was about to say I never actually had a copy of bass fishing though. But like at some of the bowling alleys I used to go to when I was a kid and stuff, I think it had like bass fishing or something like that there. So that means Bunny was lucky. Scourge didn't circle around her. I mean, oh, I know what you're referring to. Scourge didn't circle around her when he pulled that move. Nah, nah.
I could get with all these tokens and gold cards. Big? You're trafficking children!
I guess they were busy with
That's sick, Big! Big, what is wrong with you?
Not cool, Big.
Wait a minute,
God,
guys.
this is pretty
Let's
cool.
talk about this for a second.
I guess all the rest of this stuff is free now.
This is no, this is actually kind of nice. I ain't gonna lie. It kind of gives me that old school, like retro kind of look to it. How they used to do video games, like poly and all. Yeah, that water looked good. Yeah, they do.
Huh?
Oh god. Not a killer whale. Orcas and Sonic do not get along well. Yo. Human trafficking, that's not good. Honestly, I find it hypocritical. Fans criticize that Scourge part, like they lost their shit about Rouge and Sonic Generations remastered, but this is taboo. Well, well, I will say with the Scourge thing. So, just a little insight for a lot of people that don't know what me and Ash are thinking about with the Archie thing. So, Scourge, Sonic's evil counterpart or his evil twin from Archie comics from Mobius and stuff. Scourge had before he had became Scourge. This is when he was still anti or evil Sonic, anti Sonic and stuff. So he still had Sonic's likeness and whatnot. So basically, he had kidnapped Sonic and left him inside his world. And Scourge kind of wanted to take over like Sonic's world and was kind of like messing around, wanted to live his life and everything. So Scourge was kind of messing around with a lot of girls in Sonic's world and stuff like that because he did it in his world, and a lot of the girls didn't like that and whatnot. So Scourge wanted to have some fun in Sonic's world, and he was definitely doing all that and stuff. And at one point, he kind of slept with Bunny and stuff like that. So there was a controversy that, technically speaking, he essayed Bunny and stuff, which due to false pretenses, which that is technically the case, or whatever. Or you can, or it's very implied that they, but we know they did. They just Bunny said, well, our little nap had kind of taken a little bit too long or whatever, and it was already like nighttime or whatever. So that was a huge controversy. They lost their shit about Rouge and Sonic Racing Remaster, but this is taboo. I think you might be talking about the with Rouge, the whole deep rusting her thing, which that was kind of dumb. But yeah, Sea World Blackfish chasing the blue hedgehog. But yeah, Sonic and Orcus do not get along. It was kind of an ongoing joke, sort of in the games a little bit. Like it started back in Sonic Adventure 1, where like there's a running section at the end of I think Emerald Coast, where you're about to complete the stage, but then a giant orca chases you. So if you mess up or stop or whatever, that orca is going to get you and stuff like that. So it was like that, and then Sonic 06, they brought back the orca and stuff where the orca is like chasing Sonic again and stuff like that. Or Sonic is like he grabs on the orca's fin and is like the orca is like going in and out the water, and then you have to like control Tails to try and stop the orca from getting out or something. So so that just became a running on joke and stuff, even in the comics and stuff where Sonic and orcas just I don't know, they have it in for Sonic pretty much, So Sonic had a bias against orcas. No, orcas have it against Sonic or Hedgehog. Sonic made numbers of Knuckles look like he about to pass out. Imagine if Sonic had done B-Ring sea oil spill in the boys universe for payback. Sonic don't like being in the water anyways, so you don't like being in the water anyways. By that logic, you could say Rouge is freaky because she kissed Tails in Sonic X to distract him. Yeah, it was nothing. Like it wasn't like but at least Scourge is full on a villain, so it's fine that he's thirsty just like Eggman in DC crossover. That Eggman thing with Catwoman, that's a little bit implied too, but then I'll leave that to your imagination if they did to do. Oh, cool, thank you. Let's put it on his head.
That big deal feeling is here. Shop Prime Day, June 23rd through the 26th.
Instructors invested in your success. It's just another way Central Piedmont helps you conquer possibility.
Huh?
Classic.
Huh, I wonder where that missile's going. Oh well, probably nowhere important. Let's dive. Woo!
Oh, there was a reference to that. Oh no, this is horrible. Where like after you missile or whatever, and you come down to the.
That's a pretty sharp performance there. Select a fun stage. I said a fun stage. You keep moving this cursor, I swear I am going to turn this game off!
I did it.
We did it.
It's gonna look like Robot Chicken a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Shadow.
Fine. You did a great job too.
Well,
Faker.
because I mean I know Robot Chicken uses stop motion animation with action figures, but this kind of looks like they're kind of doing that a little bit here.
Even though I did most of the work, I am the ultimate, after all, and you're just a measly little pathetic. What the?
Huh, so that's where that missile went. Oh no, Shadow didn't make it. I'm coming in.
Damn, that's wild.
Sayonara, Shadow the Faker.
Female hedgehogs will flatten their spines to initiate mating.
Can you see all of me? Walk into my mystery.
レディーが人の家から宝石盗んだりするか。
あれは私が。
That's wild. Knuckles and Sonic are the real villains here. That story, how Knuckles got his hat, is cute and funny. I mean, I don't forget that Eggman is popular, at least. Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, Catella from Adventures Sonic the Hedgehog wanted him, even if she was freaky too, and hell of abusive. Yeah, she was freaky. And she was kind of a baddie, though. She was definitely a baddie. You're right. It reminded me a little of Robot Chicken. Yeah, a little bit more higher in quality, though. But still. Yeah, if she's an anthrobat. Oh, anthrobat.
もう許さないんだから。
Hold on, this is not good. Oh, this is Sonic 1, not Sonic no Knuckles. Mighty Ray. Police. Angry gets tired of this. Really miss the ball.
All right, looking good, everybody. Wait, where's Knuckles?
Oh no!
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh no!
That is wild. At least, oh hell no. At least it's not bad. Stuff. I mean, but yeah.
Oh. Hey, no fair, huh?
Yo, that is hilarious. They got Knuckles trapped up in Superman 64.
Not again.
We gotta get those Chaos Emeralds before Eggman.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
Six. Let's find those
Pixel Rush. I think I was. Yeah, I am subscribed to him. Pixel Rush.
emeralds. You got it, boss.
I had a feeling they could probably have definitely have gotten him.
Amy, who is that?
Huh? What do you mean? It's Sticks. You remember Sticks?
Not from this continuity.
Amy, I've never met this girl in my life. Where did you find this
Amy,
girl?
I've
Where did you
never
come
met
from?
this girl in my life.
Been here the whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Amy, you can't just show up with a random person and act like they've always been here. Right, guys?
Yeah,
Totally,
I say
bro.
that all the
Stop
time.
playing.
It's just common knowledge.
What, guys? You can't just.
Been here the whole time.
You can't
The
just
whole
act like
time?
they've been in a.
Yeah,
Right,
what's
guys?
the big deal?
Yeah, right.
Amy, you can't just show up with a random person and act like they've always been here. Right, guys?
Yeah,
Totally,
I say
bro.
that all the time. It's just common knowledge.
What? Yo, what is this? But yeah, Superman 97, Rouge is a true baddie. Yes, she is, but she never will top Breezy, mainly from the fact that she can accelerate her body parts however she wants. I think you think about that animation from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but yeah. I do like her redesign.
I figured out how these things manipulate gravity. It's a black hole.
Wait, a black hole? Tails?
I still have a headcanon that Sonya and Medic are in the main universe, but just live in their separate lives. Yeah, that's a possibility. Because honestly, I'm not saying I'm not ruling out the idea that Sonya and Medic probably don't exist inside the main Sonic universe. Because there's a lot. That's why I keep saying before. Because I know you remember my old Sonic X stuff, where I was saying honestly, it is kind of still open-ended about Sonic's family because we don't know his family life or his personal life entirely like that in the Sonic games because it's a little bit of a mystery. We just know that he's got sneakers that are red and white that are friction proof and that he comes from Christmas Island. Okay, we don't know anything about his family life, which it kind of varies. Which I know I was doing that Sonic Family Tree video. Still a work in progress. But yeah. But that is kind of an open-ended idea, though. That yeah, they can still exist. It's not impossible or improbable. Honestly, I forgot all about Styx' existence in Sonic Canon. Yeah, they haven't used Styx since Sonic Boom and stuff. They didn't mention her inside Sonic Frontiers, so it is possible that Styx actually might be in the main canon now. So that is definitely true. Styx appeared in Sonic Boom. God, that terrible ass show. I remember. Damn, Taylor, you didn't like Sonic Boom? Sonic Boom was hilarious. Now, honestly, they should have made it into an action type cartoon, which I understand it was action, but it was more like a sitcom than anything. But it was still funny though. It was that Sonic Boom was funny as hell and stuff with their jokes and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do actually like watching Sonic Boom. At least Sonya and Medic are more iconic. That all Sonic siblings, the Sega of Japan, try to pull off. The only siblings Sonic really has, besides if you want to count Tails or sort of Knuckles, which they have more of a brotherly relationship, and Tails sometimes is like a foster brother to Sonic. Would be would be Anita or Tanya and stuff. Anita is Sonic's younger sister in the manga, but if you ask me, I think technically speaking, she's pretty much just Sonya, but or you can see her as this is Sonya's counterpart, pretty much. Sonic Boom is boring to me due to jokes. I thought it should be a serious show. Yeah, it could have been better if it was a serious show because the games, I think Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, they kind of wanted to do that sort of it's going to be a little bit serious, but also jokey, kind of because it was made by the same dudes that did Jack and Daxter, which Jack and Daxter was a little bit of that blend of action and kind of a little bit dark, but also they can have a little comedy at some moments too and whatnot. That could have actually worked for Sonic Boom. But yeah, but the show just went, well, the Rise of Lyric game kind of didn't go too well, but let's make it into a comedy. So I thought it was kind of funny for what it was. There was some stuff like Knuckles being a meathead and stuff like that, which because Knuckles is a lot more smarter in the Rise of Lyric game from what I see, from what I've seen and stuff like that, compared to the show where they just kind of made him really, really dumb. Like the Sonic X show, besides Dub and 4Kids. Yep. Sonic Boom can have some boring episodes, but even the worst episodes are better than Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog worst episodes. But yeah, I like both. But yeah, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, they had some, it was the 90s, but they had some crazy ass animation that was just so weird. And or at least the character models itself was just weird. But yeah.
We've been wearing these things on our wrists!
So?
Control.
All right, Resistance.
We may be short on people, but we can still fight. Even if Sonic isn't here,
I just know Sonic is out there. Maybe he...
Sorry, Amy.
You know, she kind of sounds a little bit like Lisa Ortiz, a little bit. What about the filler episodes of Sonic Boom? I mean, there's no real... You can't really say that there's like filler episodes of Sonic Boom because really Sonic Boom doesn't really lead up to anywhere. It's just like the show itself is just like meant to just be a little episodic where it's always going to be like, okay, stuff happens and then somehow they always end up fighting Dr. Eggman and just smashing his robots up to pieces and stuff like that. There's probably a few episodes where they kind of, or some episodes where they're like taking it a little bit more seriously, like the Robots in the Sky 2-part episode or 3-part episode or whatever, and stuff like that, where they might shake things up a bit, but yeah.
But Sonic is gone. And Tails has just lost it.
Yeah, his voice acting is pretty good, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Character model, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like it could be better, but it looks good in these shadows. They better have Tails really lose it.
You don't talk as much as you used to.
Tails does look good, though.
Here, have some tea.
Oh, God. Yeah, he definitely lost it.
That's odd.
He really did lose
a
it.
killer whale driving a truck chasing
This is a pretty cute look for Amy, though.
you down while giant wheels are attached to the truck. Sorry, Sonic. That's gotta be the most messed up reading I've ever made.
In the near future. What did she say?
Messed up reading I've ever made.
They got all the, and good God, that gun truck from Sonic Adventures 2, it was a lot worse inside Sonic Generations. That truck was like, good God, that thing was like the Terminator for some reason as a truck. So it was
Shadow, you must eliminate all of them.
Okay, I think, yeah, this is the part I really came in on because I remember, yeah.
Black arms in this area.
Don't you mean the gun soldiers?
No, man, I'm on your side here. I'm just trying to help you get to the good path. You're not doing that right. Wait, hold on. Which route are you on right now?
Okay, you're drunk. Or something.
Oh, yeah. If I'm so drunk, can I do this?
Back in the day when I was playing Sonic Heroes, that was
Hey, you need a background check to hold that.
Oh, yeah. Well, check this shit out. Soda.
I was more making fun of Sonic. Approved. Like, yeah. Nova's has some good jokes, but his solo episodes inside Sonic Boom, though, just weren't all that, to be honest.
No.
Did you know hedgehogs make a sound similar to quacking when stuck or trapped?
There's nothing left to... Yeah, I also heard it like
5 minutes later.
Even when I was playing Carnival Night, I could not figure out what exactly to do with these barrels sometimes.
Eternity
All you had to do is go up and down, up and down. What the? And then time ran out. Yeah, this looks kind of good.
Sauce?
A little bit. I can kind of see like the movements a little. The movements look a little, awkward, but looks pretty good.
This is what he wants? Hmm? What the? Maria.
Now what?
Well, this isn't what is it? 25 years later. That looks like an Addy commercial with Sonic characters. Yeah, that could. Yeah, that it does kind of look like that. One thing I wish they would have added in duration remasters in the stages from the 3DS version, or all they brought Bio Lizard, Boss, and Shadow campaign. Yeah, they did. Yeah, so I mean, I never played the 3DS version, but yeah, I know there are some differences, like Sonic facing the Bio Lizard in the and Sonic Boom. I mean, I said Sonic Boom inside Sonic Generations and whatnot. And there was probably other stuff that they could have probably added to. Anyways, we are almost done with this short. Like 4 minutes. Not really counting the credits.
Can you all just shut up? Pathetic losers! Ring!
Yosh.
Get up, you lazy water monster! We've been stolen again!
I remember that thing with the Sonic OC guy. He was like, "Yeah, this is how you make your own Sonic original character." And I swear I used to take that so seriously as a kid. First, step one, don't you draw a goddamn thing. Step two, unless, Sonic OC. How about Sinos, the Jesus Hedgehog? Yeah, it's Sonic spelled backwards. Like, I'm like, bro.
What is this?
Almost.
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
Oh, this is beautiful. The theme of it. It's gonna look like
Sayonara.
Sonic Fighting that was on that that independent thing had created.
Oreo frozen treats. Now sized for 5.
That's the new. Yeah, that's all that stuff that he's chasing is like a thing in the front.
Rolling around at the speed of sound. Got faces to go, gotta follow my rainbow.
All right. Well, that's the end of that. So I guess I wanted to just show you guys that and also react to it along with you guys. Man, OC Sonic Short was gold. Yeah. You can make whatever OC you want, but if you make a Mobian version of Matt Walsh's Sonic Universe will break you. I can see a weird version of like Matt Walsh as a Sonic character for some apparent reason. Like I think never mind. Well, I was thinking like a character from like Sonic Boom. Like remember that one dude that was like when Eggman wanted to like remodel his lair to get on that magazine and stuff like that. He got Amy to help him out. And that guy had came in and he was inspecting it. Yeah, that looked like that might be Matt Walsh's character. Man, I like that one part where where he got his boss, and after like Sonic's friends had trashed the place and stuff like that, she was like, "You're fired." He had that shock on his face. He was like, and then Orbot was like, "How about you ride the roller coaster? It always cheers me up." And he just takes the ticket. He walks with that face on his face. That was hilarious, man. I was like, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed too. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Or imagine Sonic hired Black Noir and destroy the pipeline. Yeah, I don't even think the fish would care at that point about. They'd probably blame it on the deep and stuff. They'd be like, "No, we don't care about this conspiracy. We just cared about who did it and who did it and what." Nah, Wash would be an inspector that wanted Sonic and the gang to be role models. Oh yeah, that could be that could work too. Uh, yeah, he could be that. Although I don't know, he would be so deadpan about it though. I can see that most definitely. But anyways, let's get to the other portion of what I wanted to talk about. So, and this kind of goes into like because I had a conversation with SSJ and sort of a debate with him and Paul, Nerd Culture is Toxic, about it. And this is kind of like my major problem with DC is that they keep freaking like doubling down on this whole Batman stuff. Like, oh my god, like look, I grew up with Batman, right? Batman is the first DC Comics character, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you Batman was the first DC comics character I have ever learned about. I remember back in daycare, like because Batman animated series was over by the time I was like by the time I was born. You know, I was born in 1999. Batman, like it was the Batman the New Adventures was probably still like just about to wrap up, or like I think it was 97 or whatever. Anyways, yeah, that in '99, yeah, when it was wrapping up, Batman Beyond also came out around the same time too. Whatever. Anyways, I was in daycare when I first saw Batman the animated series, and I think I saw the first actual couple episodes, Leather on Wings, which was really great, really good like introduction to the character and everything. And I think it was the Christmas special one with him and Robin. So Batman and Robin are the first two DC comic book characters I was introduced to. Okay, then over time, well, not even over time. Then not too long after that, like a few years later, where I was probably still a little bit in daycare, but yeah, like when Justice League came out, I remember my mom got me like a surprise one time where it was like a VHS tape of like Justice League and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, mommy, it's Batman." But who are these other two characters that are on the case? And she was telling me this is Superman, this is Wonder Woman. I put it on, I watch it. It's the the origins or the first two, like the 2-3 part episode or whatever of Justice League. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it as a kid, and it introduced me to those characters to not only just of course I knew who Batman was, but to Superman, to Wonder Woman, to John Stewart Green Lantern, to Hawk Girl, Martian Manhunter, and the Flash. And then of course they always did a good job back in the day with a lot of these shows like Justice League Unlimited or Batman Brave and Bold, where they had like a lot of characters and stuff like at their disposal, and they would put them on give them some kind of spotlight, some kind of shine and stuff like that, or yeah. So we enjoyed that kind of thing. But right now, DC is just too heavily reliant on just doing Batman stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna react to this because this is probably the only Batman thing that I will kind of accept for the moment. But yeah, the only DC project I'm worried about is the Starfire show. I hope it would dodge that bullet of Harley Quinn style and be at least more like DC girls show, just more like the OG Teen Titans. Sort of. I can't guarantee you anything. There's a YouTuber that I do follow called Storm Corey HQ. I haven't seen his video yet, but he just put up a video about the first look at Starfire. So yeah, because I don't know his opinions about it. Although I know he's not a huge fan of the 2003 Starfire. A lot of guys aren't really a huge fan of the 2003 Starfire if they're if they more so if they love the comics and stuff. They're not a huge fan of her. I do like 2003 Starfire, but that's not a definitive characterization of who Starfire is and whatnot. It was kind of well, they made Starfire that way because they can't use her characterization from the comics in the show entirely because Starfire is a very she sometimes can be a little bit of a sexual person and stuff like that, and she has a very very messed up background, which is actually why I put up that poll. Well, that's not why entirely I put up that poll, but the reason why I put up that poll from the other day was because I wanted to see, and look, there's no wrong answers and stuff. I don't mind if some guys chose Batman or whatever, but I just wanted to see where you guys are kind of at when it comes down to just thinking a little bit objectively. Because to be honest with you, Starfire objectively does have a like worse tragic background than Batman and stuff. You know, like yeah, Batman lost his parents and stuff, and he saw them die in front of him. That is tragic. But Starfire, yeah, she lost her parents. She, she was abused by her older sister, who was always jealous of her just because she was born with the ability to fly, and Blackfire was born without the ability to fly. So she took it out on her sister, abused her, killed her pet, and stuff like that. Tried to get her killed plenty of times. Sold her into slavery and whatnot, and then she got sold into slavery where she got possibly sexually abused, got experimented on, and whatnot. And then somehow I can't remember how Blackfire got wrapped into that, but she got also experimented on just like her sister, where they both got the little starbolt powers and stuff like that. But yeah, Starfire just objectively has it worse than Batman. I'm just gonna be honest with you. She has it worse than Batman and whatnot. I'm just saying. But that's my point, where there's other characters out there that's got interesting, like very layered backstories, but we kind of just neglect that or ignore it in favor of just Batman, you know? But anyways, the Starfire show, Starfire works best as a supporting character, to be honest with you, with the Titans, or if she's a part of like a major team, like the Justice League or something like that. But yeah, but if I were to try my hand at like on writing Starfire, if it was me, I would probably have Starfire I would probably like Starfire to team up with Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, because Wonder Girl and Starfire are actually like best friends. So I think that would be kind of cool if they were to like team up and it's like about them going on an adventure and stuff. That could be a comic, that could be a show, or whatever. Hell, who knows? Maybe they might actually introduce Donna Troy inside this Starfire show. That could be interesting too, and stuff. Because Donna Troy is in the 2003's Teen Titans universe, but I'm not sure if this is related though. But anyways, what else would I do? I would probably have Starfire fight some of the intergalactic villains in the DC universe. Probably not something on the level of Brainiac, because that's way out of her league. But maybe Mongol. I think that would be interesting if like Starfire went up against Mongol and stuff like that. His gladiator stuff, War World. I think that would be pretty interesting and whatnot. Of course, she already has her own rival and villain, her sister, Blackfire, aka Commander, and whatnot. So of course you can have her, Sinestro, I think Sinestro and the Sinestro Corps. That would actually be pretty interesting if Starfire were to go up against like him and stuff like that. So that's what I would do with like Starfire as a character, is like have her probably like, if you're going to have her in space, have her go up against some of these like cosmic kind of characters and stuff, But that's just me. Jackson, how's it going? I kind of feel like DC only pushes Batman because it's the only thing that automatically makes them bank. Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what it is and stuff. And it's kind of like, look, you guys, we know that you're going to get a quick buck out of Batman and stuff like that, but you can't always like rely on Batman. You got to also build up your other heroes, because you're going to grow too dependent on Batman, where that's the only character and stuff. I mean, I don't care if he's the most popular character or whatever. You're still going to like rely too much on him and stuff like that to get you out of a jam. When it'll probably be better if you worked on other characters, so it can also like where you won't have to rely on Batman as your only pillar. Raven got it the worst in DC characters. Yes, yes, she does. And I also got Raven's origin comic too, and yeah, Raven, even at her birth and stuff, Raven was like, good God, that was tragic. Her whole life was designed to be just a tool. Yeah, in a way. I'm getting tired of Teen Titans Go designs. Yeah, aren't we all? Donna Troy isn't in the cartoon. She's got the design, but she couldn't be used because of rights. Well, I know she's not in the cartoon. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the Starfire thing or if you're talking about the 2003 Teen Titans thing. But she's actually in the 2003 Teen Titans. She's not in the cartoon, but she's actually in the tie-in, like in the little tie-in comics that they had back in the day. Because I actually used to own it. That's how I found out about Donna Troy, because the 2003 Teen Titans had like a comic book line and stuff like that. Like a lot of the Cartoon Network shows and stuff like that, or Warner Brothers stuff, had tie-in comics like Samurai Jack Justice League, Justice League Unlimited, all that stuff, you know. So Teen Titans was one of those things, or Dexter's Lab, Foster Stone for Imaginary Friends. But anyways, Teen Titans, they had Donna Troy and stuff actually have an appearance and stuff where like all the other Titans have gotten captured besides Robin, Speedy, Aqualad, and Kid Flash. And then, you know, Donna Troy, she shows up to help them, which is a homage to, because, you know, those 5 characters were the original Teen Titans members and stuff like that. So then they like show up and like save everybody from the Gardarians and all that. So yeah, can't risk someone else who won't make money. Batman is the most compelling. No, they can definitely take risks because it's a multi-million-dollar corporation. Like, how are you not going to like take a risk, or not even take a risk, but like, you know, yeah, like it's a multi-million-dollar corporation. You can definitely like put a little bit more stock and time into other characters than just being like, oh, well, Batman is the most guaranteed. Okay, well, you make him like he's the only one. You know, it's like kind of like we were talking about earlier with like Marvel and stuff. Spider-Man, yeah, you can do Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. That's a guarantee, but you got to have other things than just Spider-Man. And the thing is, Marvel doesn't have full ownership of Spider-Man's like filming rights. Sony, for the most part, does. So if Marvel's going to use Spider-Man, then they're going to have to, you know, go through Sony. So they have to rely on other characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, whatever, you know. DC is becoming too saturated with Batman. I'm tired now. Exactly. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. I remember the comic. Oh, shit. But I don't count it. No, I mean, it counts. It is still canon and stuff because it took place after Trouble in Tokyo, because a lot of the events and stuff is like, you know, after like, you know, like after the show and everything. You heard about the Absolute Batman getting an anime? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to talk about too. They definitely taken risk and haven't banked yet. I disagree. But anyways, let me play this trailer. I know I've been going on for a minute. I guess I'll go with this since it got 2 million.
Anyway, safe drivers save money with snapshots since they're not stuck.
Now, I will say this is the only Batman thing that I will actually accept. And I rewatched Batman: The Dark Knight Returns even a couple of weeks ago, mainly because I read the comic and I kind of wanted to see like, okay, well, let me watch the movie again and see what the like, you know, how it lines up with the comic and stuff. But yeah, anyways, let me play this. But Batman Nightfall. Now, after I read Nightfall, which was like a few years ago and stuff, like I read all of like Nightfall. I read Nightfall, Night Quest, and Night's End. Good. It's a good Batman storyline and whatnot. The Dark Knight Returns did not exactly, no, not Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Rises did not do it any justice and stuff because it was just too big and it's just too like, yeah. So I will definitely say that. So I think, yeah, an animated movie can definitely like do it pretty well and stuff. I mean, they can still fumble it for all I know, but yeah, the Nightfall stuff, yeah, this can definitely work better as an animated, as a 3-part like animated movie.
Gotham's exploded too.
Now I will say this: one of the reasons why I'm actually glad that they're doing Nightfall, not only because it's a good Batman storyline, but it also like is giving focus to Tim Drake and also to Bane. Okay, because Bane is a good villain and he has the potential to be better, but they kind of make Bane into kind of a joke, you know, a little bit after Nightfall. And I was saying to like some of my friends earlier that in the cartoons and stuff, like Bane has like one moment of like, you know, or it has a few moments, but he's not like, oh, like a constant threat against Batman like that, you know? But anyways, so I'm glad they're definitely giving Tim Drake some kind of focus, but for all I know, they could probably just switch up and be like, oh no, this is Dick Grayson. Oh no, this is, well, actually, no, we saw Dick Grayson, my bad. But they could probably at the last minute say that this is Damian Wayne. If they said that this is Damian Wayne and not Tim Drake, I swear to God, always being Batman's like ultimate threat or whatever. You can probably focus on other characters like Bane or Ra's al Ghul or something, who have more resources or are physically more of a challenge and stuff. And when I was like, you know, looking at Chuck Dixon, where he was talking about like, you know, Bane and stuff, he was saying like the reason why, well, the whole reason for Nightfall in the first place was to kind of show what a renegade Batman would look like if like Batman was like on that Punisher time he was just going around executing villains and stuff like that, then this will be like kind of what he will be like. But he wasn't going to do that with Bruce Wayne, so he needed him out the picture, right? So, you know, he needed a villain to kind of like, okay, well, we need a villain to kind of put Batman out of the way and stuff like that. But the thing was, like, for the villains that were smart enough to do it, they weren't strong or tough enough to pull it off. And for the villains that were tough and strong enough, like Killer Croc or something, or whatever, Blockbuster, Solomon Grundy, they weren't smart enough to like to take out Batman, you know, because Batman can always outsmart them. But Bane was kind of a good combination of both brains and brawn, where he is very intelligent and stuff. Bane has a very good photographic memory and stuff like that, and he's very calculating. And he's also got that, you know, that brutish strength, and he's also a steroid head and stuff like that. So that was Bane's whole purpose and stuff, was to put Batman out of commission like that.
I intend to
and you know,
break you.
I also saw that Chuck Dixon even said that he actually had an original idea that he wanted to actually make Bane and Bruce Wayne, like Bane and Batman, they were actually going to be brothers and stuff. I was like, what? Yeah, so like Bane and Batman, they were actually supposed to be half brothers. So like Thomas Wayne would have spent some time in like South America, and during his time in like South America, right, he would have like, you know, kind of cheated on Martha with somebody else and stuff, and got somebody else pregnant, you know, Bane's mom or whatever, and she would have had, you know, had Bane and stuff. So that, yeah, at first I was kind of like, that's stupid, but then I kind of thought, you know, but if, at the time though, during the 90s, you know, that's a very weird, but yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't do it though. But
New look for the dark.
yeah, Joker, and I know Joker had like a little ponytail actually. So yeah, I am looking forward to that though. I will say that that much. So yeah, for those two reasons, just for Tim Drake and for Bane. All right, let me read some of these comments, because I know I was talking and stuff, and I wanted to like get that off my chest. And I know you guys were responding like, "Oh, got to finish Nightfall." Yeah, it's a good storyline. Agree to disagree. They've definitely tried to fail at using other characters like Blue Beetle, Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, and Creature Commandos. Okay, well they used Blue Beetle, but they weren't even sure with Blue Beetle with the DCEU that like should it be a part of the DCEU or should it be a part of the DCU with James Gunn thing. And then they announced that, oh, whoops, surprise, the DCU is ending, so here will be the last couple of movies that are non-consequential to what's going to happen. So of course that kind of turned a lot of people away, and they used Jaime Reyes, which Jaime Reyes, like, well, Blue Beetle in general is kind of better off as like a sort of a like supporting kind of character, or he's a part of a team group, if anything. But they use Jaime Reyes, which Jaime Reyes, I'm not saying he's a bad character, but Jaime Reyes, he kind of, you know, like he doesn't have a, like he has, okay, fine, 20 something years of history, but he's not a strong enough lead compared to like Ted Kord. But we know that they probably use Jaime Reyes a little bit for diversity, which not entirely a bad thing, but that's kind of the reasoning as to why they use them and whatnot. Peacemaker, we know James Gunn just randomly just used Peacemaker because Suicide Squad, it's a workable idea. Like, it's a workable idea. I know like some of you guys might not like the first movie, but it's kind of still sold merch, and it kind of made Harley Quinn and some of those characters a little bit more mainstream than anything. The Suicide Squad too, though, that was kind of dumb. Creature Commandos, yeah, I won't. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. It's a flop, but there's plenty of other, again, heroes that they could use. Even at that can still, you know, that's still like a workable like idea and stuff, especially like that aren't as like, you know, like C-list or whatever as like some of those characters, or D-list, if anything. You know, like they could still do something with Aquaman, Wonder Woman, with Flash, Green Lantern, like, you know, like Batman's not the only character. Martian Manhunter, you know, like, yeah. Or some of the Young Justice characters, like, of course, Red Robin, Superboy, Wonder Girl, Impulse, the Justice Society. Like, there's plenty of characters that they can definitely pull from. Nightfall and Arkham Origins show how strong Bane is, or can be. Yeah, they do. I swear I thought I was the only one who's tired of Joker. Yeah, I'm tired of, like, a lot of us is tired of Joker. Yeah, we're tired. So I'm kind of glad at least Batman is probably going up against somebody else that isn't the Joker. Like, I mean, I get it. The Joker is a very unpredictable guy and stuff like that, and he has a very chaotic nature about his personality and stuff. And I get it. His performance by Heath Ledger was great, but it's kind of like, all right, now you guys are tripling down on the Joker and his, like, oh my God, the Joker is really this dangerous. Okay, there's other dangerous villains out there than just the Joker. Anyways, I'm tired of the Joker for years, so I agree on that only. Yeah. I wonder how so-called fans are going to read Nightfall, but I hope they do it justice because they need something. Yeah, it's a long, like, I don't blame you probably for not finishing it yet because it is a kind of a long story. It's a lot of, like, a collection of comics and stuff where it's kind of like, okay, Batman is, like, trying to, like, capture a lot of his villains that Bane has set free. So he's fighting in, like, fighting different villains like Mad Hatter, Riddler, Joker, Poison Ivy, whatever. And it's recapturing them so that Bane can kind of wear out Batman. And Batman's not getting any actual rest because it's a crime spree. So Bane already knows Bruce Wayne's secret identity. So he's slowly watching him, fatigue himself so that he can kind of wear him down so he can, beat him, like, approach him and then beat him and stuff like that. And he does. Humiliates Batman in front of the city, and then Tim and Alfred, they rescue Batman, and they're like, we gotta find somebody else that can stand in front of him. So since they were working with John Paul Valley and stuff, they're like, hey, he could probably become so and so, Batman for a bit, because Batman didn't want to bother Nightwing with becoming becoming the new Batman for the moment because Nightwing has kind of moved on, or he's living his own life and stuff, so he doesn't want to burden him with that choice. And then the other stuff, part 2 will probably be about, Azrael becoming that renegade Batman and all that stuff. And yeah, Tim is like, he is off his rocker. And then the third movie will probably have to be about Bruce, like, retraining himself and learning from Lady Shiva and then taking back the mantle and, all that other stuff. So it's definitely a lot, it's definitely a lot. So we got 3 Batman series in the works. It's got Nightfall, Kid Crusader, Absolute Batman. Oh my God. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Sounds like a good year for Batman, minus woke Kid Crusader. Sounds like a lot for Batman, like a little bit too much on that plate. Did I miss anything or not? No, not really. Not too much. We just I just watched some Sonic shorts and stuff. The 3D edition by The Wax, so that was pretty cool. Or Sonic Paradox. I believe Honey the Cat would be better as Selena Kyle Catwoman. Yeah, you're talking about, like, for the DC crossover. Well, to be honest with you, I think Rouge is the perfect fit. I mean, I get what you're saying with the whole cat motif, but Rouge is kind of the best because her and Catwoman have a lot of similarities, being, like, thieves and stuff like that, anti-heroes. Sort of like, I can't really trust them, but or they might have an ulterior motive and being very, like, seductive and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So they have that in common. So that just makes sense with that comparison. And plus, Rouge is a little bit more mainstream than Honey is. So, yeah. Am I the only one here who thinks Fiona Fox is equivalent to Poison Ivy? I can kind of see it, sort of, but I would, like, I mean, I see where you're going with that, with the whole, well, uses her feminine wiles kind of thing, but I wouldn't really say, like, Fiona is, like, Poison Ivy like that entirely. But anyways, let me go to Kid Crusader. I'm going to play this trailer as well. Sorry.
That's real money, real time, real results.
We're losing this fight.
Not a fight anymore, boss. It's a war.
It's our job to protect this city, no one else's.
Yeah, you and your...
Again, how many times do we got to see Batman taking on organized crime, taking on gangsters, the mob? Like, I understand that's what Batman does, But I'm just saying we've seen that plenty of times and stuff. So we can't just get something else like a cosmic level character or something. We can't get another character dealing with something else. You know, we always got to get Batman stuff.
Bat Buddy. When we get rid of the Batman, Gotham will be ours.
And then they'd be like, oh, well, Batman's got all the villains and stuff. Okay, there's plenty of characters that got rogues galleries, but a lot of people don't know them because, again, okay, here's the reason why Batman is like as popular as he is. Okay, now of course Batman came out in 1938 and stuff. He was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, and we all know Bob Kane he was a sleaze that took a lot of credit for a lot of Bill Finger's work and stuff like that. And then, you know, I think on his deathbed or something like that, he kind of, you know, admitted that, yeah, Bill Finger had like, you know, really kind of like he really contributed a lot to the development of Batman, where, you know, like his design for Batman wasn't all that great compared to Bill Finger's, which is the one that we got. Bill Finger also created Robin. I think he created the Joker too, if I'm not mistaken, etc. Like he really fleshed out the character and everything, and deserves a lot of credit. But anyways, but the reason why Batman is so popular is because, like, yeah, even though it came out in 1938, Batman only went mainstream because of the Adam West, because of the Adam West show. The Adam West show made Batman very popular to the general audience and to the mainstream. Okay. So because you had a charismatic actor in Adam West and Burt Ward as like Batman and Robin and whatnot. So of course you know the dynamic duo and all that, and you got these like villains and stuff like the Joker, Riddler, Penguin. You got Mickey from the Rocky, and so I was like, oh, so wait, like Mickey is actually Penguin from the 1960s Batman. Okay, that's cool. But anyways, but you got all those guys, and then you even got Catwoman and stuff, right? And keep in mind, Catwoman was actually gone for quite a while inside the comics because Catwoman, I think she first appeared in the 1940s, but because Catwoman was kind of like, she was a bad girl, she was a bad girl, like back then it was kind of a little bit taboo to kind of portray girls sometimes as like oh, they're rebellious and stuff like that or whatever. And, Catwoman, like characters like Lois Lane, Catwoman, and Wonder Woman were definitely something in the comics where Lois, even though she might have been a damsel, Lois had that grit and she wasn't afraid to get her story or to put herself a little bit in danger to, get the truth and stuff. Like she had like a very strong will despite not having any kind of like supernatural powers or anything. And then Catwoman, she was a villain back then before they turned her into an anti-hero. But Catwoman still had she was like, oh, she had that grit, and she was also like a rebel and stuff. And Batman was like really into her, and sometimes Catwoman would probably get away with doing a lot of stuff, And then Wonder Woman, she was a virtuous hero and whatnot, and she didn't she wasn't in like the shadow of a man or anything like that, etc. But anyways, going back to Catwoman though. So they kind of found that a little bit problematic. So that's why they had cut Catwoman for so long. So in the 1950s, I think Catwoman was completely absent. And so we get to like the Adam West show where they brought back Catwoman with a different costume and everything. And, we got two versions of Catwoman. I'm more familiar with the one from the movie than Eartha Kitt, but we had Eartha Kitt Catwoman as well. So that brought back, the actual Catwoman character and stuff from that point on. So yeah. But anyways, Adam West made Batman popular. Okay. Then people probably still thought, okay, superheroes, Christopher Reeves, Adam West, Batman. Okay, they're goofy superheroes, not all that serious. The 70s did treat heroes a little bit more seriously in the comic books, but people weren't reading the comics. People were watching the movies and the shows. Okay. The 80s, the stuff like with Frank Miller with The Dark Knight and with Tim Burton with his Batman and stuff, that's when people started really seeing that Batman can be very dark and he can be taken very seriously and stuff like that. So in the minds of the general public, that really popularized them to thinking like, oh, okay, so Batman really could be so and so. He can be a very serious character and whatnot, right? Then that's how we got the Batman the Animated Series, which Batman the Animated Series is supposed to be like a spin-off of the Tim Burton movies, but it became its own thing eventually later on, right? Where it was like a cartoon for like, Batman and stuff like that, but it still treated the character with, it still treated the character seriously and all that stuff. And a lot of the characters got, either modernizations, revamped, etc., and it worked out, like Mr. Freeze and all that. Like he got revamped where Mr. Freeze back in the day he used to be like Mr. Sub-Zero, and he was a criminal that like he was kind of like Captain Cold a little bit, where he was just a one note villain that just robbed people or stole things with with his little ice gun. That was it, but they kind of gave him a lot more depth than just that in the Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series, we got Harley Quinn and stuff from that. I know we don't like Harley Quinn now, but back then, yeah, Harley Quinn was definitely like a breakout character and stuff like that people liked. So, we got Batman animated series. So again, that popularized people on that, on like Batman. And then we also got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill from that, right? So then that's when we get to the Batman Arkham stuff, right? Which the Batman Arkham video games, really great. I think it was Batman Arkham City, or it could have been Arkham Asylum too. Like, I can't remember which one came out in 2008, but they were both rated as like, this is like the best video game of the year, on the Game Informers, all that stuff, like front cover, etc. People love this. This is like revolutionary, okay? And it had the voice actors of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill voicing Batman and the Joker. So it feels like you're playing, Batman the Animated Series as a video game, So all that stuff. And, of course, we got the Dark Knight trilogy too and stuff, So like all that stuff, we had a lot of Batman stuff already, okay? And a lot of that stuff had popularized Batman, but we need that same kind of energy with a lot of these other characters like Aquaman, with Wonder Woman, with Superman, with Green Lantern, Flash, and stuff, right? Because Batman is not the only staple, he's not the only staple. Or if you're being a pillar in the DC universe, you can't just be one pillar and just support like one building and stuff. That's impossible. You need multiple pillars to hold up a building. All right, but I know I've been going on. Let me read some of these comments. I know SSJ is going ham at this. Batman Cape Crusaders setting in the 40s. Everyone looks like they had a normal day. Yeah, they don't really differentiate. This is bad example considering that this is a terrible interpretation of Batman. I mean, look, but we're still getting Batman stuff though. It doesn't matter if it's woke or it's bad. Like Batman is still doing his thing. Like, look, I know we're like this is the like modern Batman thing or whatever. And what I mean modern, I mean like the new current Batman thing project that's out right now. But we already got like Batman the Animated Series that we can just go back to, or we're still getting, more Batman stuff. We got the games. We got like, even after I think, what was it, that Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, where they wanted to place that in the Batman Arkham universe, despite Arkham Knight being the ending for all that stuff. They had what was that Batman Shadows game that was like on VR, because Suicide Squad killed the Justice League was so bad that they were like, oh, we got to go back to just, we got to do a Batman game like ASAP Rocky. So yeah. Would Infinite be equivalent to Deathstroke? I get what you're getting at with the mercenaries thing, but I wouldn't say like Infinite is way too powerful for like Deathstroke. But then again, they also both wear masks that have like that little split in between it. So you could be onto something. That could probably be like a Deadshot or something. To be fair, it's not really hard to top the DCAU and Justice League Unlimited in terms of villain roster showcase. I do agree that more obscure villains deserve a spot in something more than just Brave and Bold. Yeah, villains and heroes. I'm sure that's what you mean too. Batman's immense popularity comes from the status as a powerless human in a world of gods, making him a relatable underdog. Fans are drawn to the tragedy, triumph, and backstory of his psychological depth. Yeah, that's true too. That I'm not going to say it's not, but again, if Batman is a human in a world of gods, then you still need to work on those said gods, right? and the inspiration that raw power, willpower, intellect, relentless training can triumph over seemingly impossible odds. Yeah, that's happened with a lot of these characters and stuff. Batman's not the only one. Who do you think would be better as Bane? Tumble the Skunk, uh, Vinegar, Bark the Polar Bear. Honestly, possibly Bark the Polar Bear. Like if you know your lineup, I wouldn't really think of those characters in particular, but yeah, I guess Bark would probably come to mind. You probably need somebody really big and strong though in the Sonic universe and whatnot. I'm surprised you probably didn't say Storm the Albatross though. But nah, you need somebody else. But yeah, Bark will probably be although Bark's not like a villain. He's kind of more of a kind of a neutral kind of character though, if you ask me. But yeah, that was in the '60s. It wasn't just Adam West alone. He also had cartoons appear with Scooby Doo and Super Friends after Adam West. Yeah, that's my point. That's what kept up his little hype and stuff. You know. Do you play the Arkham games? Yeah, I played the Arkham games. I've had now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Jack. The only Arkham game I have not played or beaten, well, the only is Arkham Knight. Okay, I know that's the ending of all the Arkham saga and all that. But yes, I play Arkham Asylum, I play Arkham City, and I play Arkham Origins all in order and stuff. I played it. I have those three all on the Xbox 360. Great games and stuff. Um, yeah, great games. You need to do a regular video about this. Oh, trust me, I'm doing something about it. I was actually that's gonna lead into my Wonder Woman topic a little bit later in the show. I already know it's past 12 now. Anyways, I'm gonna tell you about my Wonder Woman video idea that I have coming up next because I wanted to talk about Wonder Woman. Um, I'm not sure when I'll have the video done, but I just finished up my script for it, so look forward to that. They should really focus on Plastic Man. Um, Plastic Man's a possibility, but I wouldn't say do a movie or something crazy on Plastic Man. He just like the Blue Beetle thing, he can be a supporting character and or a part of like a team or something like that, and you can like do a flashback or in depth kind of backstory kind of thing with Plastic Man. That's a workable kind of idea, but I wouldn't say like he seems like a fun character. Yeah, he is, and Plastic Man also has some depth too, where he was a criminal and stuff. Like he started off like as a criminal, and when I mean like criminal, like I mean like he wasn't like a super villain at first. He was just a criminal and whatnot. And then police had like shot at him when he was at a factory, and he was trying to make it a. Sorry, I'm a little dehydrated. Well, I'll be right back. Let me get something to drink. All right, sorry about that. I am back. I just wanted to get something to drink and decided to use the bathroom for a little bit. Hang on. Anyways, Batman is barely in Cape Crusader. Yeah, but that's not my point though. This is why that's why it's a bad example. It's a show outside of the name, but still, it's still a Batman show. You know, he still got like Batman in it. Even though, yes, I'm not saying like that's not a criticism with Cape Crusader because it is, but it's just like why'd you even do a Batman show anyways to kind of get people in like interested, you know? And now they're doing an absolute Batman thing, and now we got Batman Nightfall, and we also have other Batman movies. If I really wanted to see Batman taking an organized crime or something, I would probably watch Batman Year One or the Dark Knight trilogy, or I'll probably watch Batman Gotham Knights or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of Batman stuff out there where it's like, so what more can you do with the character that I haven't already seen in animated format? Or that has to be like, oh, this has to take present over like all the other stuff, like, you know, or all these other characters and stuff that are probably a lot more interesting or that's out there. And that's when you realize that Marvel treated their characters better. Sure, the MCU has been trash, and that's exactly what I've been telling SSJ. And that's exactly what's in my script, Ashes, about the Wonder Woman thing. But you'll find out later because I already wrote it up. I just haven't read it off yet. But yeah, sure, MCU has been trash for a while, but it revived popularity of Cap, Iron Man, Thor, and a lot of other characters. That's my point. You wouldn't have a Phase One without Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, who, you know, at the time they were kind of like B-list characters and stuff. And don't get me wrong, Captain America is a major character in the Marvel universe where he's always been kind of an inspiring character and one of the earliest characters and stuff like that. But, you know, he's kind of like back in the day, he kind of used to be a B-list character, especially Iron Man. I used to hear this all the time. Even though Iron Man had like that cartoon, which was really great, that stuff back in the day. You know, like that 90s cartoon, he was still treated like a B-list character for a while until that 2009 Iron Man movie came out. Now, I kind of hated what they did with Iron Man in the 2000s, where he kind of became kind of an asshole and stuff like that, which I think he was better like in the stuff before the 2000s. So like from the 60s to the 90s, that's kind of my preference of what Iron Man should be like. But that's just me though. But anyways, yeah. And then Thor too, like, yeah, they're B-list characters, but now because you like did a movie about those characters, more people know about them and stuff, right? My problem with Batman Cape Crusader is setting in the 1940s. Everyone got diversified and not the same character, just my opinion. Oh yeah, that's true. It's like, why'd you set this in the 1940s, but now you're trying to make all these characters diverse? You might as well have just kept it in modern day or in modern times and stuff. But they're trying to be like, oh well, it's like the 1938 Batman when he first appeared. If that's what you believe, okay, sure. Arkham Knight gameplay is great, but the story is trash. Yeah, I've heard the story is trash. Yeah, I used to think of Vector the Crocodile as Killer Croc. I don't know. I mean, I understand they're both like crocodile, yeah, the whole crocodile related stuff, but you know, Vector, you know, he's a good guy and a detective, and you know, Killer Croc, he's a, you know, killer. Agreed. We need more Plastic Man besides his comedic tone. Yeah, but if you like have him in Justice League, kind of like in a, kind of give him a little bit of like sort of the Hawkeye kind of treatment, like how in Avengers they just had Hawkeye like in Thor at first, like he had first appeared in Thor, his movie, and then later on when they did Avengers, he's like there, or like Black Widow inside Iron Man 2, and then later on she's in Avengers. Yeah, you can probably do a little bit of that with Plastic Man. But oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that Plastic Man, he was a guy where he was a criminal and stuff like that. Who you know, he was a criminal. He was getting chased by the police. They shot at him, and then they shot these chemicals that got on him, and that's how he got his powers and all that stuff. And then Plastic Man got his powers, and eventually he decided to become a hero. But you know, he had to go through some things, you know, redemption and all that. Batman played a part in like helping him out and stuff like that. Like I know they covered that in Batman Brave and the Bold, but even in the comics, Batman was helping him out. And you know, Plastic Man even had like an illegitimate child and stuff with his old girlfriend and stuff like that. And you know, yeah, his child was acting wild once he developed his powers and stuff like that. So Plastic Man had to yeah. So I'm just saying that's good storytelling right there and stuff, you know. But yeah, Marvel definitely doesn't treat their characters better. Agreed to disagree 15 years ago, sure, but not definitely not now. Yeah, we're not saying like they're treating their characters well, but they're at least, doing something with their characters compared to like DC, who's not doing anything at all with their characters besides tripling down on Batman. We've seen Plastic Man was animated in the movie Injustice. Yeah, Plastic Man was one of the best parts of that Injustice movie. We're like, yeah, that Injustice movie is trash, but Plastic Man and Mr. Terrific were actually the best parts of it. Jet the Hulk will play Sky Tyrant. We can all agree that Marvel peak was in the 70s with Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk movies. Bearded Kingpin is the GOAT, and Spider-Man the animated series rooted him. I never seen Kingpin with a beard before, but anyways, let me continue playing this. So they got a female Mad Hatter, and I'm like, why didn't you just say that this is Poison Ivy? This would have made plenty of sense, especially the mind control thing. As if Poison Ivy's not known for doing that, but okay. And this chick, if this is supposed to be a female version of Mad Hatter, where's the hat? you know?
Some in Gotham call the so-called Batman
I guess that's
hero.
right there.
But I ask you, has the Batman made your children safer?
Now it's a party!
Daylight robberies, random shootings, more in the last 3 weeks than in all of last year.
And I swear that is the worst Batman voice I've ever heard. Like, he is so boring. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Nobody's crossing this Riddler guy.
I'm running things.
The whole city's on the verge of panic.
This kind of chaos.
And the Riddler's not leaving any clues or challenging Batman as a detective or anything like that, by the way. Just, he's a gangster that his gimmick is Riddler, like his riddles and stuff like that. And I don't know, like we haven't seen anything like that, but okay.
You can spin out of control.
Then it's down to you. Again.
Pennyworth, it's me. I need the car.
He's still calling like Alfred Pennyworth, which Batman would never. He calls him Alfred or Al, because it's his father figure and he respects him and stuff, not Pennyworth. Give me my stuff. Like that's something Damian Wayne would probably say or do. Okay.
Sane people don't dress like bats and do detective work for free.
Then bringing back the Asian Harley Quinn, which she looks all frumpy and dumpy in that outfit, which, one of the appeals of Harley Quinn back in the animated series was that, even though she was Joker's clown girlfriend and stuff like that, she still, had a feminine body and all this other stuff, but okay.
Dead, you get me dead!
They're probably trying to make her into like an anti-hero-ish kind of character. Like, that's what they tried doing that last season, where they made her sort of like an anti-hero, but she's stealing from or like a Robin Hood type of character, where she's stealing from the rich, but then she was exploiting those rich people. It was weird. But I was like, what the fuck? And that he's still doing Batman things, but even though it's not a good show, but
I've come to awaken you.
To show you. Show me what?
They got the Joker.
What you are. Shall we begin?
Oh, there he is.
Dad, what are you doing?
All right. I know some of you guys probably left some comments. Speaking of Injustice, there are going to Injustice 3 game updates in a while. I don't even know what they're going to do with Injustice 3. I mean, I don't even know if they should, but if they do, which honestly, in retrospect with Injustice, I feel like they should have just made it where instead of just doing this whole Batman versus Superman thing, why not just make it like you know, the Prime Justice League counterpart characters or whatever versus the Earth 3 counterparts. You know, Earth 3 is the Crime Syndicate universe. That would have probably made a lot more sense than just, you know, and if like, you know, certain characters got certain like similar movesets, they can always just make them like, oh, this is the palette swap, so and so, like Batman and Owlman can share a slot together, Superman and Ultraman, Wonder Woman is Superwoman, like, you know, they can do all that stuff. But anyways, she kind of like Poison Ivy. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like she looked like Poison Ivy. Why didn't you just call that Poison Ivy, not Mad Hatter? The lady on the TV with the hat is the Mad Hattie, the Mad Hattie. Yeah, yeah, I know. Because I first heard that from you actually, SSJ, when you talked about it. I was like, a female Mad Hatter. Then I saw the trailer and I'm like, bruh, we still doing this? I mean, they just did it female Penguin. Now we're doing a female Mad Hatter. Really, Bruce Timm? Why they portrayed Riddler as a mob guy? Yeah, I'm like the Riddler. Look, I mean, look, I'm not like because he is a criminal and stuff like that. I get that, but the Riddler, like, he's not leaving any clues, any riddles, or anything to challenge Batman. He's just shooting up people and stuff like that and raising hell. Yeah, that's totally the Riddler. Injustice 3 is coming, confirmed. Okay. Although I would have probably preferred DC versus Mortal Kombat again, but you know, and God, they need to stop with that overcomplication of those, of those superhero outfits, and just have them just in those simple outfits that they wear in the damn comics. Like it's not that damn hard. Season 2 had Valentine Masquerade episode. My own predictions. Valentine Masquerade episode. Excuse me. I drunk some Sprite, by the way, so that's what I'm saying. Excuse me a lot. Ash's thing. I still would check out season 2, but J.J. Abrams should have been banned from the movie industry a while ago. Yeah, the franchise killer. Harley Quinn was Asian. She had a white name in the 1940s. Yeah, like Harleen Quinzel. Yeah, that's totally Asian. And then she's a therapist or whatever, a psychologist and whatnot, which I guess that's sort of kind of a high position during the times. Is that okay for an Asian woman in the 1940s in America? And then on top of that, they also were playing on that she was in a relationship with Renee Montoya, which, you know, I mean, homosexuality wasn't even accepted in the 90s. What makes you think that they were going to just eat that up in the 1940s? They're going to rewrite in Kid Crusader. There's no demonic abuse between Joker and Harley Quinn. Not surprised. Yeah, that was kind of my problem with the first Suicide Squad, because I'm like, you know, Harley and Joker are supposed to have this abusive relationship and stuff kind of thing going on. So I'm like, why don't they, you know, like focusing on that? I think that would kind of add a little bit of an interesting layer. The green one you had was Poison. Oh, that was Poison Ivy. The shot after was the female Mad Hatter with the hat on. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. I was just like, what the fuck? Mafia Riddler. Yeah, the Mafia Riddler. With the little bottle glasses and everything. I know that Rouge the Bat is now Catwoman, but to be honest, even though I know they're not as evil, Killer Frost, who looks more like Killer Frost, Rouge the Bat or Taylor Lemur? Neither. I'm going to go with neither on that one. Harley Quinn is ethnically Jewish. Yeah, I know. She's Jewish. Anyways, let me go to my community tab. Sailor Mercury. I almost said Sailor Moon because it's the franchise, but you know, we're live. We do it live. So yeah, that's why I put up that poll the other day, and now it's even. It's even Stevens. So I'm like 12 votes. So 6 people voted for Batman, and 6 people, which I forgot to title. Like I forgot to put Batman, so you guys can see that it's Starfire, but you get the idea. I say who has a more tragic backstory, not who's cooler, who's more badass, who is more interesting. I just say who has a more tragic backstory. And objectively speaking, if you know Starfire, just because she's a lighthearted character, like personality wise, Starfire objectively just has a more tragic backstory. Okay. Because look, like I said, Batman, yes, his parents died in front of him, but Starfire, I mean, yes, her parents died abused by her sister very badly, like on some Dio Brando type stuff. Sold into slavery, sexually abused. Trust me, that's worse. Like that's much worse than whatever Batman's been through. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. Anyways, so I just want to see what you guys will say on that. I might probably throw some stuff like that just to kind of keep a little bit of the engagement, but I just want to see what you guys kind of thought. Anyways, but yeah, I guess that's all the Batman talk. If you guys have any questions still about the Batman stuff, that's all I can vote for Batman. If that's all the Batman stuff that you guys want to still talk about, I'm still open to answer some questions or whatever, or going back and forth. By the way, Netflix gave us second season of Avatar. Yeah, I'm not even watching it to be honest. I hope it would at least be somewhat more fun than season one. Yeah, I'm not watching it, because even with Avatar too, I'm a little bit fatigued with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great series and stuff, but it's like how many times do we got to return back to Aang being a kid again and stuff like that? But don't get me wrong, the Legend of Aang movie that was great, that was definitely great. But how many times have we had to go back to Aang just being a kid and stuff, or revisit that, or oh yeah, remember the glory days? Yeah, I remember the 2000s. Um, if it's logical if Quinn lesbian relationship to early 1940s, they going to Watchmen, Ursula, the treatment. It's not pretty. It's not petty, but tragic. Because Rouge the Bat and Tamil Women both have pale white short hair, just like Batman. Villainous Killer Frost. Killer Frost is not Batman villainous. And that's what I'm saying too, like about certain characters. Killer Frost isn't a Batman villain, but you're probably thinking about Assault on Arkham though, because of the Suicide Squad. Because yeah, Killer Frost was in that Batman Assault on Arkham movie, but no, Killer Frost is actually, believe it or not, a Firestorm villain. That's another character they could have used there as like, oh okay, well why not do a show about Firestorm? Just saying. But yeah, but Killer Frost is a Firestorm villain. And on top of that, I think she also used to be his lover too. So or there's probably more than one Killer Frost, but yeah, one of them used to be his lover. So yeah, the original shows like Kate Crusader does damage to the character because some people might think that they are like that. Yeah, I know. And it's like the same thing with the Netflix Don't Make Cry, where I'm going to assume that a lot of people that are like casuals or like normies and stuff like that. They never like watched Devil May Cry. Or not watch. They never played the games. But once they see the Netflix show, they're going to really assume that that's what Dante, Virgil, Lady are supposed to be like without actually playing the games. So I can definitely see it though. But to be honest with you, the show is honestly kind of very underwhelming. Where I don't really think it will really. I don't think it will ruin Batman like that or anything per se. But it's just like, it's just like, yeah, nobody cares. Because honestly, who was really asking for season 2 of Batman Kate Crusader? I choose Batman in the poll only because I don't know Starfire like that. But damn, yeah, she had it bad in the background. Oh yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Brian. Because yeah, there are probably some people that don't know a lot of these characters as like background stuff. Hell, Beast Boy. A lot of people probably don't know Beast Boy has it pretty bad, because I also have his origin comic too. Beast Boy, like, okay, so Beast Boy, his origin is, we all know that Beast Boy was originally part of the Doom Patrol, right? But basically what happened was Beast Boy's parents were scientists, right? And they lived in Africa. And they got, so Beast Boy got bit, like, he got bit by something, like a monkey, like a green monkey or something like that. He got some kind of disease. His parents saved his life. He ended up with the green skin and the green hair and all that other stuff, and the ability to change into animals. His parents died. I can't remember how. It's been a little bit since I read the comic. So then he got put up sort of for adoption, but actually, no, I take that back. He didn't get put up for adoption just yet. So there was like some guys, like, poachers or whatever, that found out about Beast Boy, and they kind of kidnapped him and took him in and stuff like that. And they kind of like, were trying to exploit his powers. and whatnot. And then after those guys got caught, Beast Boy got put into adoption. So his first adopted dad, he definitely used to exploit him and stuff like that, and take advantage of him and everything. Until eventually, I think he kind of got caught or whatever, and then that's when Beast Boy ended up with the Doom Patrol, where he was adopted by Minto and by Elastigirl and whatnot. But then stuff happened with the Doom Patrol where they sort of died and stuff like that. And Minto, he was rich, so of course, because he was rich and stuff, his fortune went to Beast Boy, and Beast Boy inherited his money. So his adopted dad from before like Minto and all them, had came back to try and like get Beast Boy and everything, and was like, "Well, I want that money." So he kidnapped Beast Boy's girlfriend Julian and whatnot to like try to get to him. So yeah, it's a lot. Like there's a lot of characters that definitely go through it, and especially the Teen Titans. ONG remained reminded me of the Last Airbender, the Forbidden Fruit. Firestone was on the Flash, and it made on Legends Tomorrow. Yeah, he was. But he's still like they could still always he can. That's definitely a character right there that they actually could make into like a solo hero though. But you get the point about Rouge and Tango having short. Yeah, I get it. But I mean that's kind of it though. I mean they can have other stuff though, but they don't really have too many similarities to Killer Frost apart from that though. But anyways, all right. What else have I talked about? I guess I could chat a little bit about the Supergirl thing if you guys are interested. Yeah, Supergirl. Actually, no. I still have a lot of Batman stuff. I mean, well, not even a lot, but just we just got a lot of Batman stuff. We got the K Crusader, we got Nightfall, which I'm okay with, but Nightfall got Absolute Batman, which they announced the Absolute Batman cartoon, really, or animation. Like, oh, that's just great. I'm not saying like I hate Absolute Batman or anything, but it's just like, look, the only reason why people are really just hyped about Absolute Batman is because of the designs and stuff like that, and the shock value. That's all it really is the shock value and whatnot. So it really all of a sudden deserves to get rushed into animation out of all of the characters that's been around. Like, again, now I'm going to sound like a broken record, but with Wonder Woman, could do something with her. Nope, let's do Absolute Batman. We're just going to go right into it. Like, come on. Okay, and then we already had that Joker Filet I do second movie, which that was a flop. The first movie made $1 billion. That was cool. Not exactly Joker, not what I wanted from the Joker, but whatever. Then now we're speaking about like announcements and stuff. They just announced that Joker, again, not Wonder Woman or any other major like superhero. Joker is getting an anime apparently called Joker Laugh Riot, which this one is like, but basically Batman dies and Joker is trying to find out his murder, so Joker becomes a vigilante. Really? Okay. And then, of course, we had other pointless shows like Kite Man and Harley Quinn and stuff. Poison Ivy has a comic book line for whatever apparent reason. I don't know why Poison Ivy of all characters gets a comic book line. That's been going on since 2022, I think. And then we also had that stupid ass Aztec Batman animated movie and all that stuff that came out last year that nobody liked and stuff. And people kind of found that problematic, even though DC Comics does have a character called the Aztec. Merry Christmas. We had Merry Christmas Little Batman and Bat Fam and stuff like that. And now we're having Clayface. So you see the oversaturation with Batman. But anyways, let me read some of this chat before I go into Supergirl. You know who has a funny rant about Supergirl? Who has a funny rant about Supergirl? Is it Paul? Aztec Batman was stupid. Yes, it was. Absolute Batman is the result of something sticking to the wall. I forgot all about Aztec Batman. Yeah, exactly. That shit was so stupid. But again, they have other type of like characters and stuff that could be like, maybe South American or something on that level. But let's do it. Aztec Batman. Okay. Yes, Paul. Let me drink this for my throat. Yeah, I can't wait till I see Paul's rant on on Supergirl. That's gonna be hilarious and stuff. And honestly, like let him. But yeah, let me read this before I get into the more Supergirl stuff. Aztec Batman is boring and rewritten, long, dull, and boring, and rewritten history made Aztecs as heroes. Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of problematic things that some of those cultures and some of those people had kind of did, like some of those indigenous people had kind of did back then. That was kind of like, oh, that's really messed up and stuff. But because, oh yeah, oh, Paul does have it up right now. All right, well, I guess you guys can see me react to it then. In that case, made better if Batman was Spanish raised by Mayans, as Joker was Aztec, non-human sacrifices its work. Yeah, all right, SSJ. I definitely will check out Paul's rant right now, actually, just because. I guess this could probably get the ball rolling on the Supergirl thing and like break the ice.
Shut up, buttwad. I'm trying to watch this crap.
This movie sucks. It should have never been.
Damn it, this pisses me off. If we don't see some boobs or some explosions or some poop, that'd be cool. Poop. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying a Supergirl movie isn't like possible, but it was just too soon to kind of do a Supergirl movie in this new universe and stuff like that, because we just got off of just Superman. So why you jump into just doing Supergirl and stuff? You know, should have waited a little bit more longer. And even then, how they have Supergirl like as how she is just kind of dumb, where she's just this drunk, unlikable girl and stuff like that. That like, oh, she's vulgar, she's dirty, she's dingy, she doesn't take care of herself, she's not feminine and stuff like that. Like it's like, who the hell wants to follow that, especially as and like, oh, it's a broken hero and stuff. And look, there are certain broken heroes that I do like or I could follow, but this ain't Supergirl. I never got that from Supergirl, where she was like a broken character that always has to mask her pain through drinking and partying and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It's either this film was awful. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm pretty sure it was. Because I already told you, I didn't watch the movie yet. I don't care to even see the movie, to be honest with you. I really don't care, because I'm not going to watch it. I haven't had this much. I haven't been this inclined to not watch a superhero movie since The Flash and since the Eternals. Because I'm like, what's the point of watching those movies? But if it comes to streaming, I'll check it out then. I was kind of looking a little bit at Supergirl, because Paul sent like a free online thing or whatever, and I was kind of looking at it a little bit, but I just like, all right, nah. But once it goes to streaming, I'll probably check it out. I wish I could buy a ticket to Supergirl just to piss off crybabies like Justin Bell, Yellow Flash, and others. Yeah, I know Justin Bell. I saw her recommendation, my thing where she got yeah. And I'm just like, you knew it was bad to begin with, so you're just kind of making yourself kind of like even more bad. And I used to do that to myself and whatnot, where like I knew like this movie was bad going into it, but I was like, you know what? Yeah. And I'm just like, that's kind of a waste of time. The Flash is better than this film. Oh God. Oh God. No. Oh God. SSJ, it's that bad. Damn. I wish I could buy a ticket to Supergirl just to go. Yeah, I still need to see it to make my own thoughts rather than be a bot. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, from what it looks like and stuff, it was just like, nah. Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness.
Not kidding. Good God. Yo.
This movie
here it is.
Was long, dull, and boring. Yes, it is.
He should make a t-shirt about that. It was long, dull, and boring. I don't know why he has his daughter on here.
I don't know anything about that.
Hey, girl, go in your room.
Go in your shoe and
No, I got a movie review. Go in the room, shut the door. I'll be out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Darcy.
Okay, I'll be out in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
All about to make multiple videos about this.
Before this movie came out, James Gunn was bragging about this script. I knew this movie was going to be terrible. First of all,
everybody knew this movie was going to, well, most people with common sense knew that this movie was going to be terrible. And Millie Alcock, I was like, look, I don't want to throw shade or cast a stone at the actress, but then the moment she was starting to like shit on like the audience and Christian dads or whatever, I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. And stuff and stuff talking. Like, this is exactly, I'm like, all right, now we're falling into that trap again, huh? Which I wasn't even gonna watch the movie anyways, but okay, it's like that. And then she was high or drunk or whatever when she was talking, like doing that interview with that guy or whatever on the red carpet, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah.
A woman writer, really?
Like, it's like, Jesus, these people would just be making the same damn mistakes time and time and again.
Anna, I knew there was...
And, you know, I never had any faith in James Gunn's DCU universe to begin with and whatnot. And honestly, Superman, I gave Superman a chance because I was like, well, not even a chance, but I just watched it because I'm like, all right, it's Superman. Not going to really, like, I knew kind of going into it that, like, all right, you kind of screwed over Henry Cavill and stuff like that. And the Superman movie doesn't look all that. Yeah. And it really wasn't really all that, to be honest with you. But then when they had Supergirl at the end, I'm like, and then they announced that she was getting a movie and stuff, I was like, no, why would I want to follow a movie about a character like this? You know? And, you know, you guys kind of saw me kind of going in on Batman and stuff for a little bit. But, you know, I kind of like characters that are a little bit more likable, or that's a little bit more, you know, like, you know, they got some kind of integrity or a little bit more honor and stuff like that to them. But, you know, it is what it is.
Was going to hire some crackhead that James Gunn probably fucking behind closed doors to write this script.
White Rachel Zegler.
So yep, they had this Anna chick wrote this terrible, long, dull, and boring film.
Have I heard about GTA 6 only at $100? I don't really play GTA. I'm not going to lie to you, Taylor. But I have heard some of the stuff, like the situation that they haven't released any gameplay about it, but just cover art, and that game has been in like development hell for quite a while. But yeah, what they be telling these young actresses because they talk too stupid. Yeah, these guys are on a they think that they're on a very moral high horse and stuff, and they need to come back to reality and just be like, you know what? Let me humble myself. You know, they need like a little discipline. Not even a little, they need a lot of discipline.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me here. Can we all agree that Millie, the lady that plays Supergirl, can we agree that she is the ugliest woman ever to play Supergirl?
You know, I usually think that Paul is exaggerating, but, you know, I'm not going to argue against it. I'm not going to argue against it. I'm not going to even argue against it. She probably is the ugliest girl that plays Supergirl, because all the other Supergirls besides Sasha Calle, and even then Sasha Calle, sort of. I mean, she can look better. She has looked better on better days, but yeah, she's looked better on better days. But yeah, Millie Alcock, I'm like, she don't really do anything for me. But bruh, Helen Slater from that first Supergirl movie, Melissa Benoist, that's my Supergirl right there for that CW show. I was watching that CW show back when I was a teenager. But yeah, Melissa Benoist, yeah, I liked her. Who else? And then that chick from Smallville and stuff like that. Yeah, those are Supergirl right there. Those are some Supergirls right there that look really good. But not Millie Alcock. No. Yeah, I didn't want to, like, you know, even make fun of her name, Alcock. You know, like, you know, I was like, all right, that's kind of a little too catty, but, you know,
with
at this point,
her chopped up teeth in the bottle, She was just too ugly for me to really chopped
Like a
up teeth
goddamn
in the
beaver. Let me stop. She's the ugliest girl to play Supergirl. Yeah, she is.
bottle. She was just too ugly for me to really
That Helen
watch.
Slater movie, and don't get me wrong, the Helen Slater movie was bad, but she looked good in it, and she looked good as hell as Supergirl though.
Throughout the whole entire movie. But anyways,
is he reading off
this whole entire movie was basically this little young girl wants revenge because her family died by this generic ass villain that I'm about to put on screen.
And honestly, I don't even need YouTubers telling me that, oh, this is a generic ass villain. Like, I mean, I kind of knew that looking at the guy. I was like, I don't even know who this character is. And you guys know I have like an extensive knowledge on like a lot of stuff, like when it comes to fiction. Yeah, anime, because anime and manga, that's more my niche. But comic books and stuff like that, I kind of, I dabble. Like I dabble in some, comics and all that. Clearly, never heard of this villain before. Never, yeah, he looks like a generic, like very generic villain. I'm like, what is he going to do against Supergirl? Like exactly, like what is he going to do against Supergirl? He was very generic. Yeah, I'm like the dude looks generic. I'm like, like, yeah, we got over 6 years for a GTA 6. Yeah, like Trey said, Hollywood needs to start holding their checks until the movie comes out. Yeah, that would definitely wisen them up on that one. And be like, oh, you want to talk all this mess? Well, we can deduct some things, and that got to be in your contract.
And my goodness, this villain was very terrible and very generic. Even the name of this villain is terrible. Crim of the Yellow Hill.
Honestly, he looked like a freaking Captain Marvel villain from the little Brie Larson movie.
That's his name. I had to look that up because they didn't even really say his name in the movie. Crim of the Yellow Hill. That's the villain's name. You gotta be kidding me.
Ooh, how scary.
And then the girl that wants help is Ruthie. So she finds Supergirl in this bar. And my goodness. Guardians of the Galaxy feeling all over again with the music, the bar scene.
And look, I know people like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not going to take that away. But to be honest with you, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is overrated at this point and stuff. The first movie, I'm not going to say it wasn't bad. I thought it was okay. Middling, like it was middling. But it's just not a movie I myself would like keep going back to like watch over and over again. I only saw like those movies like once, one and done. Okay, that's just my personal preference. But yeah. Okay. Second movie, I was like, okay, whatever. But then like the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that was kind of a stupid movie, wasn't it? And then the third movie, yeah, let's just keep going.
The weird creatures.
But I feel like, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff is just like, yeah. But I might read some of the old comics though, because my comic book store has like a $1 bin kind of thing. So I might actually, they have like I think the '80s run of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but not about this specific team that we see in the MCU. It's like about a different team of like miscellaneous characters. So I'll probably check that out.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So this weird ass creature took this girl's sword
and then
because she was willing.
Then they had that dumbass scene where I heard she like ate shit or whatever. Like, what the hell? Anyways, Guardians of the Galaxy movies are very overrated. Yes, I agree. Like people would talk it up like that was a cinematic masterpiece. Like I get it. It was like something like a very obscure team that nobody's heard about, and then they put it on the screen, which honestly people only saw it because they just knew that it was a part of the MCU. That was it. One scene of Supergirl eating alien shit. Yeah. She was eating doo-doo. Right. Like, what the hell? Like, wouldn't... Oh, my God. That shit is not funny.
To give up the sword for anybody to help her defeat this Grim by the Hill.
But again, the Supergirl, she's ugly enough to do it, too, so...
and she saw that this creature darner took the sword and stuff. How the hell, in the beginning of the movie, did Supergirl defeat this bounty hunter with no powers? No powers at all. No powers. Because she's in this world with the red sun, and she's on vacation. She's depressed, lonely.
And, and to be honest with you, the whole, well, I was going to say something about her training, but even the whole her drinking and stuff, that doesn't make any sense, because why would Superman allow his cousin, his underage cousin, by the way, even though he is older than him based off of technicality, Superman would never allow his cousin to just drink or get wasted like that or go out partying and stuff like that. Because we saw and stuff like Superman the animated series or Batman Superman Apocalypse that Superman was very assertive and that he acted like a big brother to Supergirl. So if she was going to do something something crazy like that, he would grab her and rein her in and be like, nah, we're not doing that today. Or, whereas David Cornsworth Superman, he is kind of like a doormat, if you were to ask me, and stuff, he literally lets her walk all over him and stuff like that, or call him certain things, or, and stuff like that. I'm like, no, Superman would not just allow his cousin just to be going God knows how, where, doing God knows what, I'm just saying, that's not something like Superman would just allow Kara to do.
And she wants to be in this world so she can be drunk. That's her character throughout this whole entire movie. Mopey, sad, and drunk.
I was depressed watching this movie. Thank God I saw it.
The other half of the movie, she's talking about Superman and how great he is. I'm like, my goodness, I thought I was a Superman fanboy. I'm trying to think of anything that was good in this movie. And I'm going to say one thing that I thought was good in this movie. And that was the flashbacks of Supergirl's home planet, Krypton. Just seeing that get destroyed
and I also had a problem too with how Krypton was portrayed inside last year's Superman's movie, because it was like we didn't see Krypton, we don't get an idea of what the culture was like or anything like that, or even the fashion and the wear that they were wearing and stuff like that. I was like, this is stupid. This looks ugly, tacky. What is this?
Seeing that part, that was it. That was it. A lot of people are going to say Lobo saved this movie, or Lobo was the best part of the movie. Lobo was terrible. And then
you already up on Jason Momoa in his muscles, but Jason Momoa didn't really have that here with the Lobo. But I already said it before that honestly, I wish Jason Momoa would have stayed as Aquaman for a bit longer and stuff like that, because Aquaman right now needs the popularity more so than Lobo, Lobo, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's not a cool character, but I wouldn't say he needs to take more prominence over Aquaman, because Aquaman's a major character, So I'm just saying. And I'm not against the casting for him though, because it is supposed to appease that fan casting. That's why I think James Gunn chose what was his name? Jason Momoa to play Lobo, because people were like, he would look better as Lobo. And he does look better as Lobo. But yeah.
Scenes that he was in the movie just didn't make sense. It felt like his scenes were just forced. Just absolutely forced in this terrible, crappy film. I didn't like the part where he got captured by the creme of the Yellow Hill. How the hell did he get captured? How powerful he is. It didn't make sense. And then he got that roofie chick to help save him. And then the last 30 minutes of the movie, you would think this roofie chick that needed help from Supergirl.
Really, Lobo's an immortal too.
You would think she was like some fucking super soldier, jumping up in the ceiling, fighting her sword. She was doing everything, helping herself get free. Like the last somewhat 30 minutes of the film, like you would think she was a super soldier.
That's what I wanted to say about the Netflix lady, is that she acted like a damn super soldier inside that Netflix Don't Make Cry. Lobo was terrible. He was just Momoa being Momoa. Nothing like Lobo outside of looks. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like I can see that. But I mean, like I said, I mean, there are some characters that are just meant to be like, or some actors that are just meant to just play certain roles. But he needs to kind of bring a little bit of that, like Lobo's intimidating kind of factor. And I'm assuming he wasn't as like Jason Momoa wasn't as intimidating as Lobo. He was just more so like, joke after joke and parody after parody, which Lobo can be a parody character too. But he's also a very feared, bounty hunter and stuff like that at the same time. I think Supergirl had watched. Shut up, Taylor. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. 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 Nope.
I get it. Supergirl is an overpowered character. So
I wouldn't say she's overpowered, but she is quite strong.
they're trying to figure out how to extend this movie.
Oh yeah, and I was also gonna say too, like about Supergirl's training, is that Supergirl was trained by Wonder Woman, and so Supergirl does have that Amazonian training as well. So even if she was like powerless and stuff, she can still fight. But obviously, this version does not have. We can already assume that she does not have that. She doesn't have the discipline, and they haven't established Wonder Woman yet either. So how will we know?
So the world, the sun that's around the world, it kept changing. First, it was like,
oh yeah, let me read these before Paul gets into this interesting part. He was as bad as Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, and I love Schwarzenegger. Well, I wouldn't say, because I'm going to try and put out this narrative out here about Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, because really it was more so the direction of Batman and Robin, where they had him direct, like to be like Mr. Freeze and stuff, be goofy and stuff like that as the character, because Joel Schumacher had took an influence from the Adam West Batman and the Tim Burton stuff and try to like combine the two to be kind of dark, but also, jokey and stuff because it's a superhero movie. But we have seen Arnold Schwarzenegger in roles similar to like Mr. Freeze, where he's not saying much, but he's like, you can see that, that very tortured kind of like pain look on him and stuff like that. Or, like we've seen him in Terminator as the, literally the Terminator, and where he has those like robotic expressions and stuff. So he can definitely bring that to the table as Mr. Freeze, or Conan the Barbarian, where Conan, like I think his friend was saying, like, I'm going to cry for him because even though, he's sad and stuff like that, I'm going to cry for him. Lady is super lady now. Yeah, she's got a little double trigger in her. I thought Wonder Woman would have had a cameo in this or something, since I know she trains Kara. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, because she did actually mentor and train her for a bit and stuff. So Kara does have like, some Amazon training.
Yellow sun, then it was a green sun, a red sun, whatever. So her powers kept coming in and out throughout the whole movie.
Which that makes no sense. Never heard of a green sun. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible inside DC Comics, but they were saying something about a kryptonite sun, and I'm like, a kryptonite sun. I'm like, I've never heard of a kryptonite sun before, because kryptonite is supposed to be like meteor fragments of Krypton and stuff like that. So are you telling me that meteor fragments of Krypton had like created a sun? Yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. Like if it was a red sun, I can understand, but red suns don't exactly like it. Like it doesn't like make them like weak or like kill them. It just makes them like regular people and stuff, because a red sun, I think, was in Krypton's solar system originally.
It was terrible. This movie was really, really bad. And she was wearing all regular street clothes, Supergirl. She looked homeless. She looked homeless throughout the whole entire movie. The only reason why she even wore it on the Supergirl suit was the last 20 minutes of the film when Ruthie gave her the suit. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. She didn't even want to wear the suit. Ruthie gave her the suit. I'm gonna give y'all my final thoughts. This movie was a 0 out of 10. I looked up the budget for this movie. It is $189 million.
You sure they didn't lie? Like you sure they didn't lie about that? And it was probably a lot more than expected. I'm just saying, but good God, the point, like the fact that we can't really get these movies to even get over 100 million is crazy work.
Gotta be kidding me. I looked up United States starving problem, like people that's hungry and want
He's gonna go that direction.
Food. 47.9 million. So that $186 million budget, they could have fed the poor. We didn't need this movie. This movie is going to be forgettable.
Yeah, we really didn't.
Most people are not going to buy it on DVD or whatever, or rewatch this. This movie was terrible. It didn't do good in the 80s. And it didn't do good.
Well, the reason why I didn't really do too good in the 80s because the actors looked great and it was sort of there, but it was just like, yeah, that story was just so bad. Or I don't know, it was just random for the Supergirl movie. Like, where she finds out that she's Superman's cousin and all this other stuff, and that he's Clark Kent, blah blah blah. She kind of, is like, oh, now a schoolgirl at like some kind of dorm or something like that. And let me think. And then she fights like some kind of witch or something like that. Yeah, but this movie way better. Like way better than that than the current one we just got. I can guarantee you that.
Good in the year 2026, and they probably wouldn't have the money they have now for this weekend if they didn't squeeze Lobo into this. Most people came to see this movie because of Lobo.
And they knew it too, because that's the whole point of why they put Lobo in there, because they wanted Lobo to yeah, because Lobo wasn't in the original comic of Women's of Tomorrow, which is kind of funny too, because ever since they had announced that, oh, this movie is based off of Tom King's Reach the Run of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and stuff, which has been out for quite a while and stuff. Nobody got it. Nobody cared for it. Now all of a sudden everybody cares for it because the movie's out and stuff like that. And it's like, really? I'm like, really? So now everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to hop on that train of, oh, I'm going to read Woman of Tomorrow to understand the movie. I don't care about Woman of Tomorrow. I heard it wasn't good. That's reason enough not to like waste my time reading it. Well, at least at the moment, because I mean, I want to like read actual like good stuff, and I got a lot of stuff anyways that I got to read or check out. But yeah, like right now, I'm actually I got this Captain America Epic Collection thing that I'm reading, and Wonder Woman in the Justice League, and all that I'm also reading too. So I got a lot on my plate.
And to me, his acting was terrible, just awful. And then I don't know if that was a muscle suit that he had on his chest. Looks fake.
Although I will say I want to see him do better as Blanca, though. In Street Fighter, I want to see him do better as Blanca.
Bad acting choice. The dialogue was bad. This was a 0 out of 10. Unbelievable.
And honestly, there's other Supergirls out there besides Kara Zor-El. But the reason why, okay, so let me go a little bit into the little history about Kara. So originally, yes, Supergirl was kind of like Superman's cousin and stuff back in the day. But at one point, when Crisis on Infinite Earths that happened, they were kind of like, all right, well, we got too many Superman related characters where we got, or too many Kryptonian like characters. We got, of course, Superman himself, but he stays. We got Supergirl, we got a Super Dog, we got a Super Cat, and we got a Super Monkey. So they're like, all right. So let's have a crisis event where we kind of retcon a lot of some of this stuff out, or try to like rebrand and stuff like that, or whatever, and get rid of the super like aspect of everything about it. No super dog, no super cat. That's why I'm getting on James Gunn about that too, because he's doing those same mistakes in a way, which is not like this is not really that palatable in modern day. So, anyways, they killed off Supergirl, which we have that iconic shot of like Superman holding his cousin's lifeless body and stuff like that. And then they reboot, and that's how we got to like post crisis and stuff, where post crisis Superman was originally just the last official son of Krypton, and then we got Connor Kent Superboy, but he was like a half clone, half human of Superman and whatnot. Eventually, we do get Superdog and Supergirl later down the line. Kara Zor-El, but before Kara as Supergirl, we had Matrix Supergirl, who was kind of a creature that was created by Lex Luthor from like another dimension that got like destroyed, or it was a dying. It was a dead Earth. So Superman decided to like bring over Matrix Supergirl, who was like the last living creature and stuff. And then she got taken in by the Kents. She got renamed to May Kent and stuff. So she's kind of like Superman's unofficial adopted sister and stuff like that. And she has like she's not a Kryptonian, but she's kind of like this shapeshifter like creature, but she's got like these like powers and stuff like that. And then I heard she merged with this woman named Linda Lee Danvers, and then she became the second Supergirl in the post crisis universe and stuff like that. So there's a lot of convoluted stuff. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of stuff with her lore that they actually could use, but they just choose not to for some apparent reason. But yeah. But anyways, let me read some of these. What you call it? Don't get me started with Supergirl movie cup. Yeah, that shit looked like some damn foreskin. It was weird. Super Hobo should be the title. There actually is a Flash game called Super Hobo, by the way. All right. Well, that's the end of that. All right. Well, it's late. It's about to be, well, it's already 1 o'clock now, 1:02. But still think Nerd Culture needs to shave or at least trim his bush. Yeah. He actually did do it one time, though, but he needs to kind of be a little bit more consistent with that. All right. Well, anyways, it's late. I'm about to wrap everything up. I really appreciate you guys for coming. If there's any last questions you guys want to ask me, feel free to do so before I sign out. That's how you know I'm starting to get a little tired. I'll probably stream again tomorrow, aka later on tonight. That's a possibility. I don't know if I really have any other topics that I can come up with, but I'll probably think of something. But yeah, I really do appreciate you guys for coming in, though. And we chopped it up, chatted a little bit about Batman being overrated, which he is. We, reacted and saw the Sonic 3D Shorts things, which that was pretty good. 35th anniversary of Sonic. Here we go. Let's go. I told you about what I've been up to, stuff like that. So yeah. But anyways, yeah. But anyways, yeah. And we talked about Supergirl and stuff, and now I just knew that this movie was just like I was like, nah, not me. Like, yeah, never changed, never wavered from yeah, this movie's gonna be terrible. I'm not gonna like even if it was good or not, I don't care for it, because to me that Superman movie is just so bad and so out of character and just so like weird. And then Supergirl was like this, that, and the third. So I'm like, nah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for coming by. This is the Cocky Little Fox, and we are out. Peace, and until we meet again, which might be later on, sooner rather than later. All right, have a good one, everybody.